Yeah. He's a stand-up guy. He's super cool.
Is he really?
Extremely knowledgeable. It's a lot of fun.
Hi, everybody. What's up? Welcome to the clinic. I am thrilled to be here. My name is Dr. Peyden Shelton, and I'm the Associate Professor of Trumpet at the University of Utah. I know I'm kicking off Summer Haze's Music Fest. Is that what this is called? Correct, thank you. And I'm the first person to be part of it, so I'm a little bit of a crash test dummy for the structure. So if it goes poorly, blame me. But no matter what, I am thrilled to be here and to get a chance to talk to you guys about some stuff that I talked to some of the people who work here at Summer Haze, what would benefit our community most. And a little bit of that, we came up with a title called The Winning Setup, Sound, Style, and the Audition Process. And the purpose, yeah, so give her up. Brainstorming means a lot, folks. And the big thing that I want to make sure that I get a chance to talk about is just, one, the audition process in general, especially with, from my perspective, what does it mean to audition for colleges? What does it mean to be a music major? What does it mean to do music at the higher ed level? But also, how does the stuff that you hold in your hand and put to your face impact what we perceive as college professors on the other end of the thing? But that's kind of the structure of it, and I hope some of you who brought your horns are willing to play today, because I'd love to get a chance to do the teacher thing with you and kind of work with you on your sound and your concept and just see potentially if the equipment can make a bigger difference. So let's give you a little bit of who I am and where I come from. Yep, that's me. Probably 80 pounds lighter, but you know how it is. We get older, you know, we try to work. But I spend a lot of my time in the official role that I have as the Associate Professor of Trumpet at the University of Utah. So my job is day in and day out working with students one-on-one in my lessons, working with them in trumpet ensembles. You may follow me on social media. Saw that I did a little brass sectional with our Philharmonia students yesterday, working on their upcoming concert next week of Pictures at an Exhibition, which if you're in town, go check it out. The brass are sounding chef's kiss. They're doing quite well. But my other role, kind of right now, is I'm a Yamaha performing artist and clinician, so I spend a lot of times working with students and showing them my instruments, how the instruments can be a big part of their life and change some things for them, but also just being a teacher in that capacity with the help from Yamaha making those things possible. You see a couple other logos up here. I sub quite often with Utah Symphony. Typically most of the summer you'll see me on stage every week, all the time, but I also do a lot of things with Ballet West. The bottom word, Merari, is my professional brass quintet. So along with being a college teacher, doing a lot of sub work in Utah Symphony and Ballet West, I'm on the road with my brass quintet. And coming out soon, hopefully in the spring of 2026, you will get to hear a brand new CD by Merari. Say ooh. Ooh. Say ah. Ah, yes. We're so excited. It's going to come out in Centaur Records, and it's all brand new commissions that we've done over the past 3 years. So it's all pieces you don't know. Be excited about it. But that's kind of where I come from. So I have a very kind of like vast and diverse experience, both from the teaching side, the performing side, with large ensembles. I do a lot of things as a soloist, but also I do a lot of chamber music as well. So I'm kind of hitting all the avenues of what it means to be a teacher and a performer in today's society. So I want to make sure we kind of know the structure of what we're going to talk about today. And again, once we get past this screen, it's going to be a single word or a single statement. So don't think for in the back, you have to remember what we're doing. This is actually for me. Remember, I'm a trumpet player. I have 3 valves. Sorry, 3 valves that I have to work with. And so I'm using this presentation to keep myself in line as well. So this is kind of the general layout of how I thought the clinic should be focused a little bit. Obviously, you see the Masterclass portion at the very end, so I keep you nervous the entire time. But that's good for your nerves, so you work out that kind of stuff. So let's begin a little bit of what I do. Music in college. How many of you have participated in music in college or have done something at a college related to music? That's a lot of hands, and I love it. Congratulations. As some of you may know, yes, we have things called music majors. You can major in it. And in a music major, there's vastly different areas that you can focus and study on. At my institution, the University of Utah, we have multiple degrees. We can do a performance major, meaning that you can major in trumpet itself. We also have music education, which many of you, who is a music educator in our room? Yes. Give the people a round of applause. Just give them. Thank you. they are helping to continue the love of music to the next generation. So you are struggling and making sure students play and love music forever and ever and ever. And that is a task that is going to be something that we need no matter what world we live in. So be proud and be happy that that is something we're doing. But we train music educators at the University of Utah. We also have degrees in composition. We have degrees in music technology. We offer a certificate to go about recording music. And we're working to potentially have a music therapy degree at the University of Utah soon. But there's just some avenues that you can focus on. I know other universities here in the state of Utah offer similar pathways and programs, but there's also some variations depending on what school you go to. You do not have to be a music major to participate in music in higher ed. That is a very big stigma that we all fight at a consistent level. Because you think, well, I'm not going to get a chance to play in the orchestra or the wind ensemble because I'm not a music major. Wrong. Many times those ensembles are auditioned. So yes, just because you are not a music major, you can still audition to be a part of those ensembles. And that's how we end up populating a lot of those ensembles in the first place. So if you happen to come in, fill in the green shirt, Dean, right? If Dean comes in his freshman year and outplays a potential senior or a graduate student, Dean is going to be placed in that ensemble over that other graduate student or upperclassman. Because again, these are merit-based auditions. You can also participate in ensembles as a music minor. That's also another thing we can add on to the degree. So do not think that your pathway is stuck as a music major, and that's the only way to have some kind of certificate or certification in music. We do offer a music minor. There's a halfway point between a music major and a music minor, and we call it the Bachelor of Arts. I actually have a Bachelor of Arts degree in my undergraduate. Bachelor of Arts degree allows you to dabble and do things in music, but also soak in and enjoy more things that contribute to music and the broader fine arts in general. So you can do all your music classes, have music lessons with me, take music theory, but also learn a little bit of a foreign language, because half the music we end up studying is mostly in what language? German or Italian? Yes, thank you. We'll get there eventually, baby. Name all the love languages. Keep going. But that's a big part of it. So, like, do not think that the avenue to pursue music after high school is singular. It is multifaceted and wide open for whatever pathway you deem fit. Oh, big dog, look at you, changing it. So what does it mean to major or minor in music? How many people who in this room have majored or minored in music? Fantastic. What this means is it just simply focuses and hones in the classes you take, much like any other major. So, for instance, earlier today I was talking to a student at a local university here who happens to major in chemistry, but they are participating in a lot of musical events in our region. So majoring in music typically requires you to go through a different set of sequences of classes. How many of you guys have heard of music theory? Yes? I hear some grunts because I know music theory has a little bit of a, we talk to our therapists about it, right? Music therapy and music history, the Grout textbook. Ooh, my heart's going crazy. I say, I heard that. Ooh. But in so many ways, yes. Music theory is part of a sequence. Music history is part of a sequence. And we fulfill a lot of other requirements for those degrees based in electives, which you can do most of the time, like music recording. You could learn about entrepreneurship. You could do a secondary area. Some of my students who are jazz students are taking trumpet lessons with me to do more of the classical side of the refinement in their playing. But at the same time, you can, on top of all the other classes you take, you're doing ensembles as credit, and you're also having trumpet lessons with me. So most of the time, the students who study with me at the University of Utah will be with me for 8 semesters, 4 years. So it's a long time, right? And every week, we will meet for 1 hour with just me and you. And I hear you play, and we work through growing you as a musician, growing you as a trumpet player, and growing you to be a better part of the musical community you're going to step into once you graduate. That is a huge thing. Both avenues allow for private lesson instruction. Both avenues as a major and minor also allow for you to have credits towards your degree participating in ensembles. So do not think that if I do major and minor, I'm not going to get credit for that. Everything a part of those 2 specific degree types, you have lessons and you have ensemble experience. How many of you guys joined band or did music in your younger days or early on because you enjoyed playing in the band or an ensemble. I think I probably ended up majoring in music because I love playing in band, right? How many of you guys who majored in music went on to do music because you enjoyed band in high school? That is a huge part of it. There's a sense of community that comes with music and studying music and having this ensemble experience that not many other majors and people in the world get the chance to experience. Sitting next to your friends and your colleagues and making a total product output to the world is something that musicians experience that other people kind of are jealous of. And that is something magical we get to. And what's better than making that experience better for yourself than honing your instrument, honing your study, and kind of contributing the love of music on to the next generation. So that's a big part of what we're trying to get across. Can I get a cue on the thing, dude?
Yes, sir.
Big dog. Man, I would love to participate in college music, but how do I do that? Well, boy, let me tell you. So a big part of what we do in the college community is making sure that we have you audition for our program, but you also apply to the program's deadlines as well. So I'm going to speak today a little bit kind of refined within this University of Utah's parameters because I'm very familiar with it. So right now, we have a big date upcoming, December 1st. So if you have any friends, grandkids, neighbors, students of your own that are looking to potentially apply to a university, December 1st is that deadline. Why is that date important? Don't we have open enrollment? Yes, we do. December 1st allows the university to slap a deadline on the application process so that that student is screened for the most financial stability possible. So if a student applies before December 1st, the university will review that student and potentially give the largest amount of scholarship available. So if you need this information, I got you, because you're wearing a great shirt today. So I got you. December 1st is the big deadline, okay? Now, if music be something that student wants to do, along with the application process that is due on what date? I'm going to ask. You wouldn't think it was a quiz, did you? I'm a teacher. You're going to get quizzed, okay? There's no candy at the end of this problem. So December 1st is the big deadline. So once we apply for December 1st, you need to make sure that you are registering for two different things. You are filling out a scholarship application. Most of the time that is also located near the link you clicked on the website to apply to the institution, as well as register for an audition. That's a key thing, register for an audition. Why would you need to register for audition if you're going to major in music? Anybody?
Placement.
What, Mike?
Placement.
Placement, exactly right. Along with the awesome scholarships the university can provide, the School of Music or the music program needs to screen those students to make sure they meet a certain performance parameter, but also the schools of music have a chance to issue their own merit-based scholarships. So, if you're an awesome trumpet player like Seth, you come to stop. You get all red now. But if Seth wants to audition for a program and he comes in and he plays trumpet really, really well, we as a school of music can give that student extra scholarship, a merit-based scholarship. And that is really, really important because college is, one, expensive. We know, we're trying to take care of that. But also, two, it allows the student to have more flexibility and ease when going through the program, not having to have a job outside of school. So they can focus and refine the craft that is music inside of school. Cue me, big dog. Perfect. So, preparing for my music audition. I'm giving you a lot of information. I will stick around after this, make sure if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer that stuff. But if you need more information specifically for my program, or just to kind of re-hone some ideas, you can find all this information at music.utah.edu. This is not a plug for the University of Utah. However, I'd love you to come there. But that's just an easy way, and I know how we organize our website to give all this information back to you. Preparing for your music audition. Every music program in the country has requirements for what they ask their students to give or perform for specific instruments in a music program. Some programs are very specific as to what they apply, especially as you start getting into the graduate level degrees, doctorate and master's level. Undergraduates typically are a little bit lighter, depending on what program you're going to. My program and my requirements to enter the trumpet studio at the University of Utah are very relaxed. My goal is to allow you the flexibility and freedom to bring whatever pieces you're working on, preferably solo or etude, that highlight your skills as a player. If you had to say you are good at 2 things on trumpet, what are the 2 best things you could just knock out of the house any time of the day?
Playing like lead trumpet excerpts.
Great, love it. That's one. And
etudes.
Killer. So he would bring 2 examples of that kind of performance to his audition, because I do not require specific things in my audition. I want you to bring the best you got, because I want you to feel comfortable doing that, knowing that you're going to kill it, and then letting us review you against other people. That's the best way to do it in so many ways. I know certain schools require certain things because there's expectations for the studio members. I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to feel this is a place for you, and I want to see what you got. And that's the best way to do that. So at the end of the day, make sure you're screening and looking at those requirements on websites when you go through this process. Often, on top of those 2 requirements for either a contrasting, either technical facilitation or something, or lyrical facilitation of something, they'll ask you to play scales or do some sight reading. That's very limited. But at the end of the day, the 2 things you bring that show your skills, that's the primary meat and potatoes of that meal you're going to bring. Certain schools often require specific concertos, specific etudes, things like that. Once again, all those requirements for no matter where you're applying can be found on those programs' websites. What's the date you need to make sure you applied for?
December 1st.
Thank you. See, we're going to go back a little bit to a comedy routine. We'll recall it. Can you hit me on the thing, playa? Yeah, big dog. All right. Here's a big portion of my clinic. When you play your audition for music programs, right? Do you want to sound your best? That's a given. Yes, say yes. Yes. Perfect. And what did I say often impacts how we screen or issue scholarships for students? That's a merit-based performance, right? Let's say you're in high school or you're in college already and you're looking to go to a graduate program or you're looking to step into a music program at the beginning. One thing that impacts your performance could be the equipment you've been playing on. A lot of times students, and I was one of these students myself, are given instruments because the family happens to have grandpa's old horn or grandma's old flute or Uncle Jimmy's trombone that he didn't like playing trombone, and they just give it to you, right? And that's a very easy and financially stable way for you to have that student join and love music, right? But now, if they're stepping into college and potentially majoring in it, you want to make sure they have an instrument that fits them exactly the way they play. How many of you who are in this room play trumpet? Do you think that we play trumpet all the same way? No. Why do you think we have all these different instruments up here with different bore sizes, different solder points, all that stuff? Because we all play different ways. And the equipment matters, and matching the way you play to the equipment makes often the biggest difference in your success and your ability to express the music you're working on, right? So, how many of you guys have your horns with you? Let's get your horns out. My goodness, we're playing already. So I'm going to give you a little trick that I learned from one of the technicians who works for Yamaha for years and years and years, and they're sadly leaving the industry soon to enjoy retirement. Bob or Wayne, yes, Wayne is the person I'm referring to. Wayne typically always, before I work with him as a Yamaha artist or anyone who owns a Yamaha instrument, by the way, Wayne Tennell is one of the technicians that kind of goes through and tweaks the instruments for you. If you were at ITG this past summer at the University of Utah, he and Jim Becker were here, and they hung out in the green room on the 4th floor next to our recital hall. And if you had time to work with them, the first thing they often do, if you've never worked with them before, is something called clocking your mouthpiece. If you got some, I hear some people in the room that have acknowledged that, right? Clocking your mouthpiece seems, just based on the surface, and I tell my students this, really stupid, yes. Right? It seems dumb. It seems stupid. Oh, I'm just going to turn the mouthpiece and sound better, right? It does. But I'll tell you, it makes a big difference in how I sound. Can I give you an example? So this horn always, for me, I turn it a certain way. I'm going to play an F major scale 2 ways. I'm going to put the same input into it. I'm going to blow the same way. I'm going to do all the stuff. I'm going to play an F major scale. But I'm going to turn it where I don't usually put it. So it's not going to align, right? So typically on my mouthpiece, I play Stork custom mouthpieces. I have a 2B plus, and that's how I identify which direction my mouthpiece is facing, okay? So I'm gonna turn, I always keep it, typically if I'm holding my horn, I use a clock face. For me, if I'm facing this way, it's always at the 9, okay? So when I play, I'm always gonna put it in there and make sure that 2B plus is facing the 9 clock. I'm gonna turn it this way. Where did I go? We're at the 3. I'm gonna play an F major scale. Right? Not horrible. Sounds like a trumpet, right? Nice little ring to it. I'm going to turn it the way I know it matches with my horn. Same input, same sound. This is done. As an audience, what did you hear?
A little more resonance.
A little bit more resonance, right?
And I hate that I have to acknowledge that.
Right? Right, it's dumb. It's so stupid. Physics sucks. I hate it. I hate it because like half the time I spend weeks and weeks and weeks working with students being like, you didn't sound like this last week. Or they come in, man, I've had a really bad playing week. Well, at this point in my teaching, I'm like, did you put the mouthpiece where we talked about it last week? Oh, no, Dr. Shelton. They turn it like, that solves it. In so many ways, I have found that something as simple as turning your mouthpiece, and again, it is stupid.
And I hate it.
It's stupid. But man, I tell you what, it solves a lot of problems, especially when it comes to consistency and ease. Because for some reason, I'm going to talk science to you, and I don't know science. So if people online are listening to this, brother, my doctorate's in music, calm down. I think in the grand scheme of things, when I try to explain to my students, they're like, Shelton, how does that work? These are alloy metals. There's multiple metals that are put together to make this, right? And in so many ways, it's not always a consistent blend as it moves through the instrument, right? And so when we put a blend of metal here and a blend of metal here, there's going to be different like densities of the makeup that happen at certain points of the metal, right? So if I find that when I make this metal vibrate at a certain frequency, and I get this one to sympathetically vibrate, if I can line those waves up and I lock them in, it makes everything sound more resonant, right? And that's kind of what we experienced when I clocked it from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Take 45 seconds. 45 seconds. If you have your instrument, place it in 2 different places. So take, for me, it's my 2B plus on my mouthpiece. Start at 12 o'clock, play just an F major scale. Once you hear how it sounds, turn it to 6 o'clock. Go 180 degrees. And see if that just simple turning of the mouthpiece can make a difference in ease of playing and if you have a little bit more resonance in your sound. Go ahead. Enjoy. Test articulation. Test a little bit of how does it feel to let the high F have a nice ring to it. Try different things. We got about 20 more seconds. Perfect. I love how this clinic works. This is how it always is, where it's like, I'm going to play, and then, oh, everybody stop playing. We are trumpet players to a point, and then we're like, I'm scared. I'm not going to do that again. But did anybody get a chance to experience any of that? Who got a chance to turn it? What did you experience?
I turned it, 180 degrees.
Yeah.
The V on my Vincent.
Perfect.
And we were just talking about
Sure.
it. It was a little more resonant, a little richer. I
Right. Did you experience
think. It was a little easier.
That's what I was going to ask you. Did you experience a little bit of, you didn't have to put in so much effort to get the
Yes.
sound that you were
Yes.
trying to strive for, right?
Yes.
It is a very, very big part of the first steps that I usually work on with students. Make sure the instrument is set up the way it fits your body the best, okay? That is something that all of you can do at home. You can do anytime you want. Different mouthpieces. So for instance, this is my B flat trumpet. When I take this same mouthpiece to my C trumpet, the thing faces 12 o'clock. When this mouthpiece goes to my E flat, it goes back to 9 o'clock. The hard part that gets to be a little pain in the butt is when you have a piccolo, because there's two things that rotate, right? You have the lead pipe that rotates, and that has to find its space, and then you have the piccolo mouthpiece. So, stupidly enough, I took a permanent black Sharpie, just did a small dot on this side, so that I know that, hey, okay, when I put this A pipe in my piccolo, the black dot will face 9 o'clock for me, and I know that this piccolo mouthpiece also faces 9 o'clock. So you have to spend time clocking this, keeping the mouthpiece in a consistent space, and then clock the mouthpiece too. So if you have flugelhorns where they tune with the adjustable tuning slide up here, same thing. But that is always the first thing that Mr. Wayne Tanabe tells the artist when he's working with them at the atelier: did you clock your mouthpiece? And that is often the first thing he does, and once I've figured that out, and now I've seen the magic, and we still think it's
stupid,
but damn it worked, I tell you what, brother. But at the end of the day, that's the first step I would work with students.
So do you, when you clock it, do you move it, 180 degrees or 90 degrees? I mean,
typically, I always start with 12 when I work with my students. I always start at 12.
12.
And I just use the clock faces like every 15 minutes. Yep,
6.
12, 3, 6, and 9. And that's what I end up doing. And sometimes we very rarely have gotten to like 10:30 or 7:30. If we're like, well, that sounds really close. Like if you find out like 9 and, sorry, your direction would be 3 and 12 sound really good. Man, they're both really close. Let's just try like 1:30 to see what it does. And sometimes that ends up being the sweet spot for it. But it's a very rare occasion that I have ever had to worry about it being other than those 4 directions. Yeah. It's
stupid,
but it works, baby. I tell you what. So along top of just the mouthpiece stuff, I do think that the horn you play makes a big difference. How many of you guys know about different lead pipes, either an open lead pipe or a closed lead pipe or a reverse lead pipe? Have you guys ever heard these words before? Right? These things make also a big difference in your playing. Not necessarily in terms of, getting yourself to play high notes. Sometimes it does based on how you play the instrument. But for me, it often gives me the resistance in the part of the horn that I need the most. So, let me see if I can find one real quick. Here's your difference. What do you see different between these two different lead pipes?
standard versus reverse.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, if this exists here, where's the other part of the pipe? On the instrument itself. It's back on the horn. It's broken already, no. These bad boys don't break. This is a regular tuning slide that we have. What would be the difference looking at these two things? How would it impact your playing? What's the main difference you think?
Less resistance, the direction of the wind goes,
Yeah,
steps
you
down
don't
rather
ever hit this bad boy, right? So it's a huge thing when it comes to students who are, maybe they play really, really great, but they're using a lot of air. Maybe this mouthpiece or this tuning slide would help them the most, finding a nice balance, because they may feel that this tuning slide here impacts how they blow. They might feel it push back on them a little bit. Different things like this make a big impact in how your students play and sound. We'll look at some of these things just a little bit too. One thing that I love, and this is my little pitch for the instruments that sponsor me, Yamaha, is that every time I buy one or my students buy one, there's always an opportunity when we meet the representatives like Wayne Tanabe or the technicians, Jim Becker. They always take a special time to tweak those instruments for my students and myself. So for instance, every horn that I own has been touched by them, and they've gone through and changed things that make a big difference in how I play. And that's a really cool opportunity and service that Yamaha provides, where if your students or you or your neighbors buy a Yamaha instrument, those technicians will work on those instruments pretty much free of charge. If you find them at a conference, like I hosted ITG last year, or you make your way to New York or LA to find the ateliers, they can work on those instruments for you to tweak it exactly how you need it done. And that's a really, really beautiful thing that lets you know that the instrument you pay for and you buy is always going to fit the way you play. You saw in the picture, the second slide, that picture was taken years and years ago, and I was a little bit lighter than I was now. And my playing has changed because my body style, my body shape changed. I went from skinny to round, right? And that makes a big difference in how you use your air, how much am I putting into the instrument, all these different things. And every step of the way, they were there to help make the instrument work for me. And that is a really beautiful thing for you as a consumer and a buyer of Yamaha, that knowing that no matter what goes on in your life, that instrument is going to be shifted and changed when you meet those people to work for you. So that's a big thing. So equipment does make a big impact in how you perform and how you enter into the collegiate world. We all want to sound good. We also make sure that we put our best foot forward so that we can have as much scholarship money coming to us at the end of the audition. Right, Mom? Right, exactly right. Hit my screen there, gangster. Boom. Let's dig into a little bit of this. Now I know who has their horns out. I made you get your horns out. Ha ha ha. Joke's on you. Anybody have anything you'd like to play, maybe for a potential upcoming audition, all-state, solo ensemble festival, recital? Are you going to do a college audition? Anything that you'd like to perform or play, we'd love to have a chance to get a chance to work with you. I can help you through some things. You can see how I teach, but also how sometimes using the equipment makes a big difference. Anybody want to play? I love it. If you feel you want to play, you're welcome. I'm gonna stick around for a little bit, but I want to make sure that I answer any questions you guys have as well. So I've talked a lot about the college audition process. I've talked a little bit about tweaking equipment and things like that. What is some information or questions you may have for me? Sir?
How much does it cost to work with Wayne and Bob or Yoshi?
Yoshi.
Just the new guy.
I know. Nothing. You just schedule an appointment time, and you end up, if it works out for your schedule and works out for their schedule, they will meet with you for free.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I play the clarinet, and I have an atelier clarinet, and every time I go to a conference, he takes it apart,
Yep.
and he puts it all back together again, and I mean, I'll even say, okay, this key's a little bit too loud, and he goes, yep, I got it. So it's incredible, and it's free every time.
No. Like I love it because you're bringing that part into our realm, not being part of the trumpet community. So it's something you see that now the company does this. So not only are you buying a horn that's made really well and it sounds awesome and it's pretty much played by all major professionals in the world, but also it's a company that's going to support you in every facet of what level you are as a player. Other questions? Sure.
Before Mike and I were just talking, we were going down the rabbit hole.
Oh goodness, that is a rabbit hole. Did you make any China Mai yet?
And I am a novice when it comes to mouthpieces.
Mhm.
I've played since I was in junior high. I'm 65, and I played on a 7C, a Shilky 13B, and I have a 3C here and a 6A4A.
Okay.
And that's all I've got. Okay? And
Don't come to my office then. Don't come to my office. I have a wall.
I know. I talk to people, and Mike and others, and they got this whole array of mouthpieces, and we want, as a jazz player, you want to be able to get up into the
Of course.
upper register.
Yes.
And some people say that the right mouthpiece played well the right way makes all the difference. Other people say it doesn't. So, I mean, I do better on my 6A4A. I love it, and but I just want to be able to. I just want to get something a little more concise. And I mean, there's so much to understand on, cup size, rim, and shank, and all that stuff.
Oh my
How
gosh,
they
yes.
all relate.
Mouthpieces are such a personal thing. I mean, out of the instrumental music world, brass instruments are the closest to the human voice, right? Because they always say, oh, trombone's the closest to the male voice, blah, blah, blah. We're the only community that also has a vibrating organic surface that belongs to us, right? The vocal cords vibrate, our lips vibrate. Now, reeds, you say that vibrates, don't belong to you, it's a piece of wood. But at the end of the day, we are the closest to a living organic tissue that helps amplify that sound, right? And so when you have a mouthpiece, it touches your body physically, and you have to make all the changes and things you want out of your playing through that thing that touches your body. It's very personal. So for me, the reason I stumbled across Stork mouthpieces is because like she allows you a pretty decent amount of customization for a very cheap price. And also, when I went through my weight loss journey and stuff, it's one of the mouthpieces that I had a bunch of different versions of that I discovered really allowed me to create the sound and colors that I wanted. Because of like the alpha angle that before it goes into the mouthpiece and the cup shape's a little more funneled, it really works for me. And so at the end of the day, like I don't regard myself as a gearhead, but I always just try to get the color, the sound, the flexibility, and the power that I need.
Yeah.
And when I came down to all these different things, Yamaha were the instruments that let me do that, and Stork mouthpieces are the ones that I still use for all my stuff.
Mm.
So whether or not I'm playing a flugelhorn, I'm playing piccolo or D flat, it's typically always a Stork mouthpiece and a Yamaha instrument.
Really?
Yeah.
And how do you get to spend the time with somebody that knows what they're doing?
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's being out here. Yeah, correct. And being out here in Utah, it's a little difficult because we are isolated a little bit. I mean, like what Boise's 5, Denver's 8, Vegas is 6. It takes a little bit of time. And so a lot of times I work with my students. I have a lot in my office, and so we go through different things. We adjust the backbore size. We adjust the cup size. We'll change a little bit of the rim because I don't want to change them too much to a larger rim if they're playing 7 rim size. But a lot of it's just a variation and finding what works best for you. Different brands have different kind of like typical shapes to them, different blanks on them. I know, Mike, you play a Lotus mouthpiece, right?
I have been.
Yep. But like the shape of that mouthpiece is different than what you see on a Bach plate. And all that stuff makes a big impact. And so sometimes it just takes communicating with the company that makes those mouthpieces and allowing them to ship you some, and you ship them back that don't work, and talking to them about it. Because what better way to do it? I mean, for me, Phyllis Stork is the person that I contact to work with. And lo and behold, I was trying to buy a mouthpiece the other day that matches the mouthpiece, like my everyday workhorse one, right? The 2B Plus. I bought that at ITG in 2009, I think it's the right year, when it was in Harrisonburg, Pennsylvania. Like when we first stepped into being at the hotels and stuff. I bought it there and I met her and I bought 3 of them. And that 2B rim size is different from what they have their machines tooled to now because she was just getting started at that point. And so some of the rim sizes were a little wonky. And that rim size is actually just a little bit wider than what she sells her normal 2s for. And I had to ship back one of my 2 rims. It's like, Phyllis, tell me I'm being stupid. Is this a different size? She's like, it's slightly bigger. It's slightly bigger. So now, when I order stuff from her, she just puts my rim size on it. Because it sometimes helps to work with a little boutique mouthpiece company rather than just larger ones. Because you can have that person-to-person communication a little bit.
All right. Good.
It does help. Other questions? I'm here until they kick me out. Thank you so much for coming to this clinic. Thank you so much for being part of the day. I would love for you to come up and try some of these awesome horns. I would love to answer questions about anything you may have about college, about just living in Salt Lake. Heck, tell me your name. What's your dog's name? That's what I want to know. But thank you so much for being here today, and thanks to Summer Hayes for letting me be a part of your day.
Thank you.
If anybody needs to get a hold of me, you're welcome to contact me by email. It's peyden.shelton@utah.edu, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any things that we don't get discussed today. But thank you guys so much.
Cool. Anyone up to playing a one-off senior citizens home gig this Wednesday at 6 p.m. down Beach?